Morning everyone. Good to be here at TFM. My name's Linus Gregoriadis. I'm Director of London Research. We're part of a business called Demand Exchange. London Research specialises in producing thought leadership content. We do a lot with marketing technology companies, and Demand Exchange is our network of publishers, a technology platform. We syndicate our research, and our clients are able to generate leads from various different publishers, and the technology qualifies those leads, and we integrate with marketing automation platforms and CRMs such as Salesforce. So today I'm here to talk about the state of B2B content and demand generation. And I'll come on to some of the research this is based on we've done. So when I was asked to do this gig, obviously the first thing I thought was, well, can I ask Google Gemini, what can AI help me with this presentation? So I said, please tell me in a couple of sentences, how does AI help in B2B lead generation? And it came up with some fairly good advice, and the standard stuff, being able to analyze data, identify customers, personalizing outreach. And whilst I was doing that, I thought this is useful. I think Gen AI or AI can be, it's almost like having a really good intern in the office where it can give you some good ideas and really help with some of the tactical execution, but on its own it's by no means a silver bullet, and probably in a nutshell that's the theme of my presentation. So we're looking at lead gen and B2B content through the lens of AI. Okay, so the research reports we've done, which this is primarily based on, are our State of B2B Lead Generation 2024 report. My colleague John, he's handed out some copies of a previous incarnation of that, but the latest one is available from the London Research website. And a follow-up report, which is based on the same survey of 350 marketers in the US and the UK, the state of B2B content for growth marketing. So content is a massively important theme for demand generation, lead generation, but we also look at it as a standalone topic in its own right. And what we did as part of the methodology for the research, we've identified a group of B2B marketing leaders. So this is about 20% of the companies surveyed who expressly say they get an excellent return on investment from lead generation. So when we do the analysis, we look at what leaders are doing, what's helping them get this success, why are they doing it well, and derive insights in that way. I think it's important when looking at lead generation to understand the challenges you as businesses are facing. So a question we've had in the 4 different editions of this research are, what are the lead generation challenges faced by B2B businesses? I've shown here the 3 greatest challenges that companies are facing, and there's others which aren't in the list, like quantity of leads and getting the internal investment required, but the 3 that consistently come out on top are quality of leads, and that's gone up to the highest percentage yet for 2024, 40%. Say that's one of the biggest challenges. Tracking return on investment from leads, that's obviously a challenge to understand your ROI, how the leads are converting, are they converting into sales, turning into opportunities, that type of thing. And the third challenge is around creating high quality content. Obviously, people visiting your site or reading your content, there's so much noise out there, it's very difficult to really get people's attention, and to do that you really need high quality content that resonates. So what I would say about AI, machine learning, Gen AI, is that it's already being used by a lot of businesses and marketers and salespeople. They may not always be aware of it, but it's very much already a thing, and in some respects not actually that new. So companies increasingly using AI to serve the most relevant content, to analyze data, to analyze bases of customers and make the best decisions. AI is being used for conversational chatbots by people in business development and sales teams. So, and of course content creation, which we'll come on to. So it's already happening and it's already out there. In a recent survey we did in partnership with Adobe, the case for B2B personalization, which is also available from our site, we asked what particular use cases in the context of the content and marketing supply chain, how is AI being used, and already not far off half of businesses are using AI for most of these use cases. So creating text, generating images for communications, for report queries, the chatbot type approach, which I've already mentioned, and for summarizing content, things like summaries, tagging, transcripts. So yeah, it's already very much happening. I'd also stress that whilst AI is being used for a lot of kind of tactical things and a lot of here and there for different types of requirements and use cases, it's not yet able to really create your strategy for you. So the companies who are getting the most success from lead generation, they're not just kind of dipping in and doing campaigns here and there on an ad hoc basis. What seems to be consistent amongst the people we define, the companies we define as leaders, is that they very much have a strategic approach, and they're significantly more likely to have an overarching strategy with individual campaigns fitting into that larger framework. This is a quote appropriately from someone from Binder, who I believe are sponsors of this auditorium. So Margot is Senior Field Marketing Manager there. She, as part of the Stay B2B Lead Gen report, she's quoted as saying, that a well thought out lead generation campaign contains targeted campaigns, valuable and relevant content, and personalized experiences for prospects. At the same time, you need to leverage data and technology to optimize your efforts. So you've got the strategy, and then after that, you've really got to make sure that your data and technology are working in harmony to deliver against that strategy. One of the themes of this presentation is the increased importance of personalization. So making sure your content, marketing and messages just resonate as strongly as possible. As I'm sure a lot of us as B2B buyers ourselves, when we're going through a kind of B2B customer journey, we're increasingly expecting the kind of experiences and service, both pre and post purchase, that we get from the best, most slick B2C experiences, whether that's a a travel, or you're using Uber or whatever. There's no reason why B2B shouldn't be as good, or if not better. After all, you're often spending significantly more money. It's a higher consideration purchase a lot of the time. Why shouldn't the experience be fantastic? Also, I know from research that's been done, a lot more of the B2B customer journey is now online. So in the old days, it would very much be your salespeople calling out, using their black book. That still happens, but a lot of B2B prospects, buyers, I'm sure as you know, they're making their decisions, they're doing their research without actually speaking to someone at the company. So if you want to get on their shortlist, you need to make sure that you're serving them relevant content, and you're part of their consideration process. So this is a chart from the case for B2B personalization report. We repeated the question from 2022, which was how they describe their attempts to personalize the B2B customer journey. And what we found was a significant jump in the last 2 years in the proportion of companies. Now more than half of B2B companies say their organizations are very much focused on personalization. And AI, which I'm presuming you're not completely bored about reading about and hearing about because you're here, does play an important role in helping with personalization. Some of the approaches aren't actually that new, but there are new ways of really engaging with people and resonate, producing content, messaging, optimizing the customer journey for maximum effect. So AI can help you get a better understanding of individuals, including their needs and interests. Data, greater ability to analyze that data, which AI is feeding into, can give you more insights about what might resonate with those individuals. AI can also help you target content in real time to those individuals, and content that's most relevant to their persona and also their role within the buying group. The buying group or the buying committee is something that's becoming much more talked about within B2B. So the acknowledgement that when you're selling particularly a high value service or product, it's not just the direct buyer or user of the services or product. It's also you need to win over often the head of procurement. It could be the CFO. It could be the actual users, so the people at the coalface using your technology or service. You need to identify those different personas and make sure you have content that addresses their needs and requirement. And AI, machine learning, is increasingly part of that process. As the need for personalization increases, so does the need to create a greater volume and quantity of content, assets, images. If we're moving towards one-to-one personalization, or even a bunch of different content for different personas, that obviously puts a lot of demand on your marketing, content teams, agencies. AI can help produce content at scale, with some caveats that I'm going to come on to. This is a bit of a segue now specifically into content, which, as you've inferred hopefully from what I'm saying, is crucial for the B2B customer journey, the content supply chain. And as part of the research, we asked about the challenges that companies were facing specifically in the context of content. And no kind of standout thing here, but the four main challenges are around measuring the effectiveness and ROI of content, producing content for different stages of the buying journey, which I've talked about, and similarly producing content to address the needs of different personas, members of the buying committee, and also finding good quality partners, whether that's for lead generation, whether that's for producing high quality content. These are all significant challenges. We asked, when we did the survey, we asked those responding whether they agreed with this statement. The quality of our content is crucial for driving high quality leads. I guess in some respects that's obvious, but it's good to have a data point there to validate that, and you can see the vast majority of respondents do agree with that statement. So it's you need, not only do you need good quality content, you also need a volume of content assets. There's also, I think, a temptation to see Gen AI as a silver bullet panacea, however you want to describe it, for all your content challenges, and just really keen to emphasize that you have to be quite careful. There's a lot of, I'm sure you've seen on LinkedIn, on blogs, it's sometimes quite easy to spot the content which Gen AI has produced versus a human. And actually Forrester have done some research there which shows that Gen AI content will actually worsen the purchase experience for 70% of B2B buyers. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be using Gen AI. We use it ourselves at London Research to help, for example, summarize transcripts, to sometimes analyze some of our research, but you absolutely need that human touch and human element to make sure that your content is actually engaging and really gets their attention. This is slightly promotional of what we do, but we did ask in the research whether organisations do commission third-party independent content. We know from our own, anecdotally, and from the downloads we get from the Demand Exchange platform, that third-party co-branded content resonates more strongly with prospects and buyers than the brand's own content, which sometimes, not always, can come across as a bit salesy. But we found that leaders are significantly more likely to commission co-branded independent content. We also found that lead generation leaders significantly more likely to say that co-branded content is more successful than the content they produce themselves. Okay, so time's running out, so I'm just going to summarize some of what I've discussed, talked about in the recommendations. The first one is around prioritizing overall strategy and planning. That seems obvious, the type of things that consultants might say. I mean, my background is an analyst, but I think it's easy with all these different tech companies offering some great use cases for AI, that companies can see these individual elements as the answer to their challenges, but ultimately the answer is around having a really good, well thought out strategy and then fitting in all these other elements and platforms and tools into that strategy. Second recommendation is about really understanding and measuring the ROI properly. from your lead generation. That can be really difficult. Sometimes the sales cycle can be really long. You're relying on good cooperation between marketing and sales, aligning, sales feeding back information about what leads have ultimately been converted, attribution around how the different types of content has fed into those conversions. So it's a challenging but can be done. We know organizations that are doing that, but the more information you can get about ROI, obviously the more investment you can get and buy in internally for content and lead gen. Choosing the right partners for lead gen and research-based content. There's a section in the report that's been handed out from our State of B2B lead gen report, which shows that leaders are more likely to work with third-party companies for lead gen. Why work with a bunch of different individual publishers, for example, when you can work with a demand exchange who can sort of manage all those relationships with a multitude of publishers for you and ensure that your content, B2B customer journeys are consistent across that whole ecosystem. Think about buying groups. As I said, the buying groups, buying committees, that's becoming a bit more of a trend. There's still definitely a place for account-based marketing, where you're looking at organizations as a whole and trying to build relationships with as many people within that organization. There's still room for personalization to individuals, but a great middle ground is thinking about buying groups and the different personas within those buying groups and the contents and the steps you need to take those different personas through. And the last recommendation is around the importance of investing in good technology, good data infrastructure. We found that leaders are more likely to be significantly investing this year in their technology capabilities around B2B personalization. We also found that leaders are more likely to have operationalized elements of AI and to treat that as business as usual within their companies. Of course, you can't make the most of AI unless you've got a really good data infrastructure in place. So that concludes my presentation. Please come and visit our stand, the Demand Exchange London Research stand up there on the left. Email me if you want to have a soft copy of any of those reports I mentioned, including the latest State of B2B Lead Gen report. I'm at linus@londonresearch.com. And obviously, if there's any questions now, happy to take them over the mic. There's no mic for questions, but I'm around here or at the stand to try and answer any queries you might have. Thanks very much for listening.